afternoon. Thank you all for joining us here today. And we're here obviously to talk about the challenges facing Michigan's middle class and facing those who want to succeed and get into the middle class. Unfortunately, rather than seeing a middle class that is growing in Michigan, we're seeing the one that is getting squeezed on all sides. Stagnant wages, the cost of living is going up, and tax increases have been imposed under the massive Republican tax shift that we've seen in the past 4 years. We're marking Tax Day today by asking a simple question. Does Michigan's tax policy make it easier or harder for people to get into the middle class and stay in the middle class? Right now, if you're one of those Michigan families turning in your taxes today, the answer is clearly a resounding no. Michigan's tax policies have been making it much harder to get into and stay in the middle class. That's because Republicans have orchestrated one of the largest tax shifts in Michigan history that has hit families the hardest, all so that corporations and the wealthy and well-connected could get more tax breaks. The same report, which was done by the Pew Charitable Trust, found that the number of middle-class households in Michigan dropped by 4.3% over recent years. That means we have fewer people, not more, making it into the middle class and fewer people staying in the middle class. That should be alarming to policymakers here in Lansing. They should understand that a healthy economy depends on a large, growing, and healthy middle class. But instead of helping, Republicans have actually made it harder on the middle class by shifting the tax burden from the wealthy and from corporations to middle-class families. This makes all the talk of an economic comeback in the state ring hollow for far too many families, especially as job growth in Michigan is still weak and as the state continues to struggle with budget deficits, stagnant wage growth, and one of the highest unemployment rates in the country. Now I want to introduce Senator Curtis Jones, who's going to talk about specifically how Republican tax policies have made it ever harder for Michigan's middle class to succeed. Curtis?
Thank you, Leader Greimel. Today we are going to hear from Cara Lee Melton about how the increased tax burden has affected her family. My fellow Democrats and I want you to know you have an advocate here in Lansing. We are on your side. We can do more to offer relief to working families, and we must. For example, the average family in Michigan pays more than $9,700 annually in child care costs alone. That's roughly 1/5 of the median income for a household here in the state. And it's making it nearly impossible for working families to be part of the recovery that Governor Snyder talks about. That's why I've introduced legislation that would allow Michigan taxpayers to claim a credit against their expenses based on their income, so that struggling families can get the relief that they need. Without dependable child care and quality child care, working families can't get ahead. And for single parents, it's even worse. Obviously, this is not a magic bullet solution to every challenge facing Michigan's hardworking families, but it is a start. And with our other efforts, like a tax credit for those paying off their student loans, a full restoration of the Earned Income Tax Credit, and reinstating the homestead property tax credit, we can loosen the grip of financial pressures on working families here in Michigan. With a commitment to do what's right for the people, we can help who need help, and the relief the most. We can make certain that everyone can share in the economic recovery. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and Callie, thank you for telling your story in a minute. But I want to bring up before Representative Christine Gregg, who's going to talk about the other bills that we're working on to help Michigan families.
Thank you, Senator Hertel. Every session since 2011, Democrats have introduced bills to strengthen the middle class by restoring fairness back to our tax policies. Thank you. My colleagues and I have submitted a package of bills to stop Michigan's middle class from shrinking further. Representative Brinks has introduced Bill 4453 to restore the per-child tax deduction, a deduction that helps offset the rising costs of childcare and other expenses faced when raising a family. Action to repeal the unfair retirement tax was taken up by Representative DeAnda. Bill 4454 seeks to restore promises made to our seniors who worked hard to prepare for a secure retirement. And I am introducing Bill 4452 that brings back the homestead property tax credit, a credit designed to help keep lower-income seniors and working families in their homes. By lowering both the home values and household incomes that were eligible, more than 400,000 Michigan families no longer qualified for any relief. All of these efforts would help restore fairness to Michigan families who work hard every day to make ends meet and to get ahead. Democrats know that if we want a robust economy that works for everyone, we need to fight every day to strengthen and grow the middle class. And with that, I'd like to bring up Callie to let you know just how this is affecting Michigan families. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cara Lee Melton, and my son Connor is running around outside. I really appreciate being asked to come here today to talk about why this issue is so important to me and important for children and families all over the state. I wish everyone in Lansing shared your conviction in standing up for the middle class and families like mine, so thank you. I live in Casnovia with my husband, where we own a stretch of land out in the country. We have a beautiful place, we have a beautiful home, and a beautiful family. Like a lot of families, my husband and I work hard to provide the things we need to raise our children and to teach them to have good values, the value of honesty and the value of hard work. We both work very hard to make ends meet. As parents, it's our responsibility to make sure our kids have a roof over their heads, to make sure the bills get paid, make sure we have diapers for the baby, and to put food on the table. It is our responsibility to ensure that our kids have the things that they need to succeed in life and to have better opportunities than we did. That means we have to say no to our kids and to ourselves often. Like a lot of people, we rely on our tax returns to help us get caught up on the things we fall behind on throughout the year. That's why I'm angry and disappointed that our so-called leaders, like the governor and the Republican legislature, who have pushed through a tax shift that took money away from working people like me and gave it to corporations and to those at the top. They didn't just take money from me, they took money from my kids, and that's wrong. Why should my children have to sacrifice so that those who can most afford it get more tax cuts? That's not family values, that's not fairness, that's not putting children first. In my case, we lost both the earned income tax credit and the per-child tax credit on our taxes. That costs us hundreds of dollars. Hundreds of dollars may not seem like a lot or much to the Republicans who raised my taxes, but it is a lot to me and it's a lot to my kids. Again, I'd like to thank the legislators here in this room. We need more people like you in Lansing that will stand up for people like me. Thank you all so much for your time.